Krishna Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we have a very special session. This is very rarely happens. So we have with us His Grace Sudhirgopal Prabhu. Is very senior devotee from ISKCON Whitefield, and is guiding many devotees as well as nicely growing their child. He's a grahastha, nicely growing their child. So today he's going to give the class on Vedic parenting. So I would like to welcome Sudhirgopal Prabhu. We are very fortunate to have you here. So I'm requesting frequently visit our sector so that we all benefit whatever you have experience, and we have your realization also. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for joining with us. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Just a second. Hare Krishna. Give me a minute, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
You can see my screen, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, we are able to see, Prabhuji.
Okay, just a second. Okay. So we start, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, please.
Okay. Okay, just a second. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirbhisesa Shanyavadi Paschata Desatarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So it's our fortune to be in association with so many wonderful devotees of Belandur, beautifully cultivated by our Kartikeya Prabhu and the team. So yes, a couple of months back we had an opportunity to share something on Ekadashi, and today it's a pretty unique topic that we have assembled to discuss. Yes, it's all about parenting, how to experience the pleasure of parenting. So before going, I would really like to ask, please use chat, let's have an interactive session. Why there is a need for this session? Because all of you, right, are so successful. None of your parents had gone through any parenting session, is it? I don't think so. Right? So why there is a need for parenting session now? Why there is a need for it? Would like to hear from the participants. I hear from Kartikeya Prabhu that all the devotees of Velandur, they are always enthusiastic to share. Yes, Soha Mataji is saying conflict with kids. Yes. But yes, why there is a need for parenting, just a seminar or a session, right? Yes, there is a need for us to talk about chanting, about Bhagavatam philosophy, about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But isn't it natural parenting? Why there is a need for us to really understand something? Yes, there are so many beautiful comments that kids are not listening, times have changed. Like somebody's writing, yes, I'm alone, and but my family is not interested. And somebody's writing difference of opinion. There is advancement of technology. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, so let me share. So our duty is not just to be parents, but to let our child reach a higher destination. Wonderful points. Yes, needs and wants have changed now. And we do lots of mistakes, and how we can learn from each other, how to be sensible and be a devoted generations. Thank you very much for all your beautiful comments. So I'm this is what we are here, but now let's understand why we have come here. And I'm sorry to start with this slide, but yes, there is some startling statistics that is there. As you can see from the source, it's not that I have made up some numbers. This is coming from the CDCP, right, like from USA, and also this is from Journal of International Public Mental Health and Neuroscience, right? So this is the reported statistics. Yes, like in a country like India, there could be a lot of unreported numbers, but these are really reported numbers in different parts of the world. Let's see what exactly they are talking about at this point of time. My friends, yes, we talk about US as the most developed country, but there 17% of the US students consider suicide, right? And there's some big numbers, just you go through it, right? how, like, not only now in India, but not only in the US, but now also in India, right? There is a highest number of population and all over the world with the psychosomatic stress, with mental health disorder, with the mental problems. Like that's amount to more than 50%, right? And how about India? India, they're talking about over the like 2000, like 99 to 2007, that over the 10 years, there has been 600% increase in teenage suicide in India, right? And now you talk about now, right? It could be more than 10x, exponentially increasing, right? And do you know, right, which is the place, right, which is having highest suicide rate in the world among the age of right, like 15 to 29 years in the teenage? Any guess? Which is that country, right, which is having the highest suicide rate in the world in the teenage? Yes, my friends, it is our Mera Bharat Mahan. It's India. India, which is supposed to drive spirituality, which is supposed to drive the knowledge and education and wisdom across a century, right? And now there is just so much of depression here. Why it is happening so? Why it is happening? And sometimes we might not understand also, if even our children or even right all around us, if they are going through stress. So what are the typical symptoms of stress that we can see in our children, right? It could be right like and as simple as like there's a lack of interest in studies for the children, right? They hardly even go for play, right? There is so much of like frequent sickness with respect to headache or stomach ache, or they have even a lack of hunger also. They would not like to eat. They have a very weird sleeping pattern, and they like to be in isolation, or even if somebody wants to talk to them, there is so much of aggression, there's so much of mood swings. And ultimately, right, from this physical things, it really goes to emotion. From the emotion, right, like then it really goes to some substance abuse and so many other undesirable addictions, right? Do we see that? Is it happening all across, right? Yes, dear friends, there is this emergency we are talking about, that how, like, even the so-called right, premier institutes in India like IITs, over the 10 years, if you see, there are hundreds of suicide cases, right? And all across, like if you talk about even the last 10 years or so, close to around 100,000 teens have committed suicide, right? Or you talk about, like, at this point, or even 2019 statistics of India, they say around there is 381 deaths happening every day. My friends, yes, it is more than even COVID, right? Like if you take COVID so sincerely, we consider it a pandemic, it's a much more severe, much more emergency is there at this point of time, right? All over the world, and also in India, it's catching up, right? Yes, there is a need for us to address it. And what are the reasons? Yes, we have to really acknowledge the problem, right? Yes, there is a problem all across, right? We have to understand, right, what exactly is all parenting about. Is this parenting all about, right, taking care of their food, taking care of their education, right, on the birthdays, organizing a huge birthday program? What is it all about, this parenting? What is about this parenting process all about, right? And let's understand, like, who are those great parents? Can you really imbibe some qualities from there? How do they done it? Is it that always things are rosy and they have just become great parents and they've come up with a great leaders? What exactly they did to bring up this leaders in our society, and how they did it? And is there something that we can really apply those principles in our current context, right? And yes, we'll have also some Q&A. So this is the agenda. We'll try our best, like to cover at least the first three topics and how this apply the principles. We'll cover some basics today. So we have planned for a 2-session seminar. So today is the first session, and then maybe 2 weeks later we'll have one more sessions, so where we'll have more role play activities and more Q&A and so on, right? Hopefully it will be in physically. But at this point of time, like, we'll be focusing on this couple of basic principles, right? And at the same time, before proceeding ahead, right, let me share with you, right, my dilemma, right? First of all, I'm not qualified, right? Because once you talk about qualification, like it's not that I am really veteran and my kids have really grown up and have crossed through the teens and they have really have a successful life, right? I'm still learning, right? I'm still also struggling at sometimes, right? But this isn't just an attempt, for me to share, like, yes, how we come across different problems and how we can learn from each other. This is the opportunity for us to create, like we have like study circle for IAS or MBS and different IITs. So similarly, can we have a parenting circle, right? So that we understand, we share with each other, right, what works best. Because we'll talk about some basic principles, but none of them really we can really just take it and really use it for ours, like, because each child is really unique, right? And we have to really apply, yes, this fundamental principles, but the application has to be really customized as per the need of our kids, right? So that's where like the maturity and the experience, right, of others would really help. And that's the reason also we would really like to have this session and also our upcoming session, not as a monologue that I'll just share something from somewhere, right? But I would really like to hear from each of you, right, how all of us, right, we go through this, how we deal with these difficulties, how we really go through this problems that we come across in every day or every moment in our life, right? And at the same time, right, yes, there is no like a magic wand that we have, that if you just apply these principles and like you'll be great parents, and then, right, your children will be really great, right? There is no magic wand. What you really need, yes, these are the principles, so you have to really learn it, and then we have to apply it consistently. And not only one principles, yes, we have to take many of these principles, right? And we have to do it not once, but in our everyday life, every day. Is it clear so far? Are we aligned with our agenda? Okay, very good. Now let's move on. So yes, we talked about there is a need for all of us, and we realize that, yes, things have changed. As we said, our children are, right, are coming across with much more anxiety, much more stress, right, that had happened over the last centuries, right? And they have so much of expectation from everybody, right? Either it's from parents, from the peers, from the coaches, mentors, everywhere, right? Like the parents want their children to be first in education, champion in the sports, and best in the extracurricular activities, right? And be a obedient son, right? Like so much of expectation, but hardly we ever think that what are we? Have we become a great parent? Or forget about great parent, have we become a good parent, right? We have so much of expectation from our children, but have we really assessed ourselves what we are doing to bring the children? Because if we don't know what is right and wrong, what can I really give to my children? Because children, yes, they are under tremendous stress at this point of time, right? With so much of expectation from everywhere. There is so much of expectation, and at the same time, once they grow up, they understand the expectation from the parents, and they have also a dream. But at some point of time, they see there is a gap where exactly my parents want, there's expectation from the peers, and where am I? Where is the reality? There's a huge gap, and they don't have anybody else to go for, right? Where should I go? Is there somewhere we can really share my thoughts, share my concerns, share my emotions, and somebody is there for me to help it out? Or is it that, like, whenever I have some problem, right, when I'm having some difficulty, right, like if somebody is having some health problem, would you really like to put him into a jail, punish him, or would you really like to put him in a hospital so that he get cured? What do we do most of the times when child is having some disorder, or he doesn't do what we expect? What we start putting him in a jail, we start punishing him. But have we thought that, Like what exactly is a medicine that I can give from my side to ensure that, okay, I diagnose the problem appropriately and I give the right prescription for him? Do we really understand what really takes for him to grow rather than just go through their life? Right? Have we really understood what exactly the child want? Yes, the child want some basic affection, basic acceptance, right? Have we started giving it to our child, right? Do we know that what kind of stress even the child is going through, right? Like yes, sometimes the best friend said something to them, or is it that like mother didn't cook the right food for them, or it could be small things, but that really is a stress for them. That is so how do we really deal with those, right? Bullying of the children, to him, towards him, or towards his exam pressure and so on, right? Do we really acknowledge the amount of anxiety the children is going through? And then once they come to the parents, what happens? How about the parents? What is the status of the parents? Parents are also equally or more drowning with anxiety, right? With multiple expectation from their career perspective, from their health perspective, from their broader family perspective, social perspective. There's so much of expectation from them. They are also too much, they are also multitasking. Like if you now even talk about like this COVID time, like father is preparing something for his project deliverable, at the same time mopping the floor. Mother is really cooking something and then really attending the project meetings, right? Like so much, right? Like parents are so much of stressed out. What exactly the parents can do, right? With the limited time, limited energy, they say, no, 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 this is it. I give up. Jo hone ka, like you take care of yourself, right? They feel so much of hopeless, helpless. That is there something can be done, or we'll just let go of the children and let them do whatever? Okay, based on their destiny, they will just do whatever it is, right? We cannot take care of them, right? Because the parents, they themselves are under so much of stress, right? What exactly they can do for their children, right? So here now we're talking about the parents anxiety, right? Then it is further complicated by the surroundings, where we have these weapons of mass distraction everywhere, right? There is a fighting of who will catch that prime time of TV, or is it the the iPad, or the who will be having the laptop to right, either watch the cartoon, or watch the cricket, or watch the attend the meetings, right? There's so much of fighting, and like you see there is so much of statistics everywhere, right? Like how, right, parents feel that, like as you said, right, over the last like 10 or 20 years, the parenting has become so much of difficult, and one of the primary reason is the social media, primary reason is the technology, right? How like everybody is so trapped, uh, trapped, really trapped. Like you have heard those, right? Like what is the trap means, right? They really show you something nice, right? But then they really kidnap you and really put into they really hijack you, right? And put where somewhere where you cannot come out of it, right? Yes, that's why they say, right, like technology, right, is a great master but not a good servant, right? Like yes, like technology or the smartphone, right, is really smart and making all of us fools, right? Because most of the times we are dictated by the technology what to do. That's why, right, if you want to watch this, and then YouTube or whatever it is, they will suggest you, no, no, you watch this also, this is what you may like, right? Because he knows that, okay, what is our conditioning over the weeks and months, that this is what you need to go. And then we really lose our discrimination, whether it's right or wrong. We just forced by the dictation that is coming from the technology. No, no, this is what I should watch, this is what I should read, this is what I should spend time. And do you know, my friends, what is happening in the industry, right? Like especially the contemporary world, people watch this Amazon Prime and Netflix and so on. In 2017, there was this unfortunately one, right, series had come, I think 13 Reasons Why. Like this is the series of most wanted and most controversial series that had come up, right? And this first season, once they said it, like it's all about a teen who committed suicide, and she said, like, what are the 13 reasons she committed suicide. And after that, once the completion of that series, in US, right, the suicide increased by 30%. Because Netflix and all these things, they dukkha dosu tadapi dukkham. Whatever the medicine they feel that it will cure the disease, but it creates more distress, it creates more problems. Right? How this social media and technology, it's really not helping, right? Yes, if it can really help our education, like I know a lot of students, they are using this technology, right, to improve their awareness and so on, as long as, yes, if they're sticking to it. But then, right, we can really realize that how much they're sticking to what exactly they would really like to do it, but then how much the times they spend browsing so many other nonsense things. We can just analyze it, right? How, like, all of the kids, right, they are so much, right, like the Snapchat or the Facebook or Insta, right, with so many this technology, right, they are just there to catch our time, right? To take away our precious time, from all of us. That's why some says that these are real the cocaines, these are real the drugs, right? Today's drug is really the smartphone. And how do we really ensure that, how we really take away our children from the technology? Because isn't that most of the times, right, we are the really the problem guys, because we have started, because the kids is not eating well, right? Okay, chalo, like let's on our mobile phone or TV, so that he will take it easy. We go for the easier option, we don't go for the right option, right? We most of the times we look for the easier option. Okay, I don't have to do anything, right? Or somebody else will take care of my problem, right? But dear friends, right, shortcut is not the always the right way or the right approach to go to the destinations, right? Yes, we need to understand. Yes, we'll spend some time also on this topic, right? How do we really come out of this trap, and how do we can really avoid this trap? So at this point of time, right, just what we discussed, we just talked about, yes, the kids are under huge stress, and even the parents, they are also with this tremendous stress, with the multitasking, with so much of expectation from others, right? And that's where really there's a mental disorder happening, right, with more than 50% of the people all around. And it's also aggravated by this weapons of mass destruction through the social media and technology. Everybody agrees so far, or any questions or comments? Or is it that I'm really giving a very pessimistic view of the world, or you feel that's a realistic view? Thank you. So now, having said that, okay, we are in this, there is an emergency for us. And now, how do we really come out of it? What is this all about the parenting, right? Can any parents talk about what exactly parenting is all about? It's really like to hear from all the participants. What is parenting all about? Parenting, is it that, okay, we come together, right, and have a progeny, have a child, and then take care of the nice food, and then really taking care of their nice education, they are successful, they go to abroad, they make a lot of money. What is all about parenting? Yes, Loknath Prabhu is writing, like, bringing up the children with good culture. What is that culture is all about? Yes, nurturing the child. How do you nurture child? What is this nurture is all about? Making sure they grown up as a human being. That's a very beautiful point. Yes. That's why our Srila Prabhupada says that, yes, first we should be conscious, then we should be Krishna conscious. Because we are really living a life of demons, right? Our lifestyle is a like of animals at this point of time. How do you really understand that, how you really live as a human being? And this Sobha Mataji is writing, raising a happy and content child. Yes, we talked about that, only, right, 3 out of 100 having a happy childhood, right? How can really our children, they really feel proud of the parents, that yes, right, I owe everything to my parents, I am what I am because of my parents, right? Once again, it's not about getting a big degree or getting number of zeros in the bank account, right? How do you really make them grow, right? So let's go forward. All right, so let me tell you a story. All right, sometimes the kids learn through stories, and we also learn through stories. This is the story of an eagle, like with the sea eagle or the mother, because of the motherly affection, she had beautiful eggs, and then due to some unfortunate incident, had an earthquake, and then the egg of the eagle, right, it fell down onto the nest of a hen, where there are other eggs as well of the hen. And then the swarm affection of the hen really brought up nice chicks from the egg. And at the same time, the mother hen realized that like this special egg, it is taking more time. She gave more affection, and then really come up a little different chick, right, which is of a different beak, different wings, and different shape. But then that's small eaglet, right, who had that crisis of identity, right, it started mixing with other chicks and doing that chick 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 chick, right, taking those petty, going around all everywhere. And sometimes he was thinking up, and I would like to fly, I'd like to go. But then other friends were saying, oh, you stupid, if you just go up, you'll fly, and you'll get down and you'll really be killed. Don't have those absurd weird ideas, dreams in your mind. But then over a period of time, when the chicks and these eaglets, they grew up, right, then farmers saw that, like, yes, this is not the chicks, these are really the eaglet, right, and this is not the place for this eaglet, right. And then this eaglet, right, its purpose is different, so what it should do, right, then out of compassion, this farmer put this eaglet right on the branch of a tree, and then so that, okay, now this is time for you to fly, right, don't just be with the chicks. And then this farmer tried, and once he put that eaglet right on the branch of the tree, the eaglet fell down, right. Once again the farmer tried, okay, give a lot of pep talk, this is where you have to go, right, and once again try, but failed. But then once again, right, this farmer sowed, this is the sun, you see your siblings, how they are flying in the sky, now this is the time for you to go up. And then the adrenaline, really, all the hormones flown into this eaglet, and they realize, yes, I am one of them. I'm not, one of all this, what I am here right now, right? And then he started putting all of energy and started to fly. Yes, he started to come down again, but then with that renewed energy, started flying again. So what do we really learn from this small, fictitious, maybe we can call it a story? Now, what is the story, right? Like as some of you really pointed out, parenting is all about how can you really identify ourselves, who are we, right? And once we understand who are we, what exactly we should do, because most of the times we are having this identity crisis. Right here, our acharyas are saying that, what they are saying, Krishna bhuliya jibe anadi bahir mukha Ataeva mayatare deya samsara dukkha. Yes, we are suffering because we have become bahir mukha. We don't know, right, what exactly is our direction, what is exactly our destination. We have turned away our face to go towards the darkness. That's why our Vedas, Upanishad says, Asato ma sadgamaya, tamosi ma jyotirgamaya, mrityurma amrito gamaya. Yes, you have to understand, you have to go towards the right direction, you have to go in the right direction, you have to follow what is your destination, you have to understand who are you, who are we, right? Yes, we are suffering from this misidentification. We have forgotten the Supreme Lord and how we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. And Lord is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Mama evam sa jiva loka jiva bhuta sanatana. We are part and parcel of the Lord. And then we have the potential to go beyond what exactly we are doing, just eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. How can we really go beyond? And how can we really imbibe this quality within ourselves and also within our children? Right? This is all about how we can really progressively nurture our children for this higher destination, for the ultimate purpose of life. Right? Yes, in the beginning, we might not know what we don't know. That's what we call unconscious incompetent stage. Right? Yes, and the child might not know that, okay, what all ABCD is all about, or what maths is all about, and so on. But then over a period of time, it comes to know that, okay, this is what I don't know. Okay, I should learn, like this is history or geography or language and so on, right? Through the education, right? And then once you understand what we don't know, then we go through a practice, we go through the training, and then we subconsciously, right, start, following that. First, we start with the consciously, and then ultimately over a period of time, once we go through it, we really become a champion. And then, right, we do it very unknowingly, right? That's how we progress. Yes, right. At this point of time, we might not know, or we don't know what exactly we are supposed to do, or from the spiritual perspective, from our educational perspective. But then, right, the education is there, right? All the scriptures are there, or all our books are there by our, right, professors or our Mahajanas, either ancient or the modern world. They teach us, right, what is this all education is about, what is the spiritual education is all about, right? And then we start practicing them, we start following them, and then over a period of time, right, at this point of time, and as we are really going through this time of right, like this conscious competence, or sometimes, yes, we get nervous. Am I going in the right direction? Oh, is it too difficult, all this lambda, snake, integration, differentiation? But once we follow a bona fide teacher, once we follow a proper process, once we have that, then yes, at a certain point of time, we'll be champion. Right? For that, what is required is a faith, our patience, our confidence, our enthusiasm to move from this unconscious incompetent stage, right, to that what do you call it, unconscious competence stage, right? And yes, this is all about how do we really develop ourselves, right, with respect to this, what we call the pancha kosha, especially in our Vedas. They talk about how we uncover the seeds, the coverings that is there within us, right? There are 5 coverings, they are said. First covering is called Arnamaya Kosha, right? So Arnamaya Kosha, right? This is all about, like, at that level, right? A person thinks, yes, I am since I eat, or a child. Now, when the child born, the child identifies everything. This is an object for it, even if this is the finger or is a toy or anything, identifies everything with eating. That's a basic need, right? And then as the child grows up, then really moves up. I am since I act. Oh, I'm a musician, I'm an actor, I'm an athlete, I'm a sports person, right? I'm a son, I'm a daughter, right? Based on what we do, we really identify ourselves with that. But then as we progress, then we identify ourselves with what we think about, right? Without thinking, feeling, and willing. Oh, I am great because I'm good at science. I'm great because I really know so much about this process. I know so much about this place, right? I'm good at cooking. I'm good at singing, right? And then we identify others. Oh, right, he's my enemy, he's my friend, right? We really identify ourselves with certain section of people, right? This is really taking care of our body and mind. But then the real development happens once we move from here to Vijnanamaya Kosa, where we really understand that, yes, we are not this body, but we are the soul. That yes, we are part and parcel of the Lord. Yes, we are eternal fragment of the Lord. And then not only that, once you move to Anandamaya Kosa, then we really understand that yes, we are not only the part and parcel of the Lord, but my constitutional position is to serve the Lord, right? Today in one more program, we are giving this example. The constitutional property, let's say, of a particle of earth, what is it? Right? If you just throw it up, it will come down, right? Or just once you talk about, let's say, water, water gets evaporated, right? From the ocean, it goes to form the clouds, and then once again, it comes back in the form of rain and goes back once again to the ocean, right? Or you talk about the fire. Fire, what is the constitutional property of fire? Like, yeah, the source is sun, right? Once you put the fire, it really, goes up, goes attracted towards the sun. And what's the constitutional property of the soul? The soul, the constitutional property is to serve the Lord, right? How we are really enabling, and just hold on this concept, right? Like towards the end of the session, we'll talk about one case study, how we can really enable ourselves and our children to develop this panchakoshas. Because most of the times, forget about Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, right? We are not able to even unleash the covering of this Arnamaya Kosha, because our children, even they don't have basic sanity of our eating lifestyle or sleeping lifestyle, right? Like they are so much of addicted to, like, or we have habituated them to this junk food, or right, like sleeping late nights and so on and so on, right? How do we really bring discipline so that we can really ahara sattvam, right? Like like eating should be suddha, right? Like purified, right? And their sleeping, their recreation, right? Yukta hara vihara se yukta chesta se karmasu, like how we can bring discipline so that then slowly and slowly, right, they move and they start covering all the coverings, all the coverings that is really hidden, right, that is really hiding our true identity, true bliss, right? And then we can really bring them up nicely. Okay, so what is all about this effective parenting? This effective parenting is not really about just giving them the skills, right? How do you really develop the will? Yes, Dronacharya had really gave this Kauravas and Pandavas the skills, but what made them Pandavas really win? The will that Arjuna received from Krishna, right? It's not about just to acquire some valuables, right? Because like there are so many celebrities, right? They had acquired so much of valuables. I always talk about this example, right? Like in IT Delhi, during one of our alumni function, right, at that time during 2000, right? We heard of this Rajat Gupta, who was the one of the first MNC CEOs, right? And we had so much of glorifying him, but then just a couple of years later, we heard that, like how, right, because of some right, internal trade issues and so on, right, he fell down from the hero to zeros. Or we talk about so much of the president of the United States, or captain of the most successful team, or right, or the big celebrities, right, because they focus so much on the valuables, right, and they really just come down, right? And we hear that nowadays every day, and all these problems are so contagious, right? And because people are just focusing just to be rich, but we don't know what is rich. What is rich? Rich means how many things you have that money cannot buy, right? Rich means, we understand, if you're rich means how many hands are coming down to once you drop your tears. Is rich all about, right, adding zeros in our account? Yes, that's why our Acharya is talking about we have to focus on both conditional duty and constitutional duty. Yes, we are not talking about skills are not important. We are not talking about valuables are not important. We are not talking about conditional duty is not important. How we have to complement that with, yes, skill has to be complemented with valuables, with the values. All right. How we have to complement our conditional duty. The conditional duty means, okay, we are a mother or a father, right? Or whatever the relationship that we have, right? At the same time, our relationship, as you understand, we are in part and parcel of the Lord. How do you really take care of that as well, right? And then success is all about, right, having a big house and a big job and so on. But like most of you talked about, yes, it's all about happiness. How do you really get that bliss in our life, that ananda in our life, right? Yes, is it just a really mirage? But we see that there's so many wonderful examples are there, right? They have lived this life of bliss. It's not just a mirage. It's just not just a theory. We can really get it. And yes, this parenting is all about how do you transform our heart within? How do you really transform all the unearthers that within us, Like how do you transform this arrogant to humility, the greed to generosity, or sorrow to joy, or we transfer from the selfish mood to the like in a selfless service, right? That's how the real education is about. Once you really talk about education, it's not just only about competition, right? Somebody says that uneducated heart means it just knows how to compete, and half educated heart means it starts to cooperate, right, with others. But real education means, and really enlightened heart means, it really tries to serve the supreme. And then what exactly is there, that right, once you serve the supreme, once you understand the ultimate objective of life, and then really how we work towards it. Any questions or comments so far? Everybody's good? Any questions, comments? Would like to hear from you. Is this what all about the parenting is? Okay, good. So now, like, once you heard what is this parenting, then how do you take care of this, our responsibilities of parenting? Even this, yes, is it really unique to human beings? Even the animals, right? They also, right, have this motherly love, right? Once you talk about, let's say, this kangaroo, it's so protective. The mother kangaroo is so protective of the child, right? Like it has its, like, through nature, like it has its own, right, a bag, right? The calf, is stored in that bag and really take care, right? As long as that baby is really, strong enough to take care of, itself. Or we talk about a giraffe. Giraffe is another extreme way of really handling the calf. As soon as the calf is born, right, the mother giraffe, right, kicks the baby giraffe, right? Why? Because that, the mother giraffe understands that, like, especially the baby giraffes, right, this meat is very delicious for the predators, right? How can I really enable my kid, right, so that it can take care of itself, right? The baby giraffe stands up again, and the mother giraffe once again, gives a big kick. Then once again the baby giraffe stands up. Then, mother giraffe once again gives a big kick, right? As long as, right, the baby giraffe starts buzzing, then realize, okay, now my baby has realized how to defend itself. Then it starts giving complete love, right? Each, as we see, right, each of the even animal species, they have their own ways how to really take care of their, babies. Or we talk about a mother cow, right? Bhakta, like batsal is the word that is coming from this one, right? Batsa is a calf. How the mother cow really gives so much of love to the calf, right? Sours all our motherly milk, to the calf. At the same time, give some space. Oh, you go around and play, right? And have fun, joy, jump, and play, right? So each of these, living beings, or the, even the animal species, they have their own way of, parenting, right? But then what about now about the human being? So what are the different, parenting styles are there, and what we can really learn from them? The first one they really talk about something as is called negligible parents. What is it called? Is that how like parents are so busy, right? They are completely uninvolved, right? They neither give discipline, they nor give the love. Okay, they are so much involved with their career, with their profession, with their health, with their own thing. They hardly talk about what exactly is good for the children, right? Like, yes, you take care of yourself, and they just, right, they don't have time, they don't have any energy, right? Because they have so much of, right, been occupied with so many other things. They feel that is a priority for them. They don't understand that, like, this limited period of time, that's like this baby time, or this, it is so precious. Like some says that, this time is really lent for a period of time. If you really lose it, you'll not get it again. Always the parents of a grown-up child, they say, they really release, they look, oh, my child was so nice, right? Like, oh, I could not, release that, because we always think that, oh, what will be my child in future, that we don't release the present, because we are occupied with our own thing, or we are thinking only about the future, of the children. These are the uninvolved or neglectful parenting, right? And then other extreme, permissive parent. Tell me, child, what you need. They pamper to the extent like whatever you need, I'll give it for you. I'll do it for you, right? Parents are under the mercy of the children. uh, uh, Maybe we can assess ourselves, right? What kind of a parenting style that we really adapt for our children, right? It's involved or neglectful, or is it the permissive, right? We are just really taking care of what our children are saying. They are ordering, right? And whatever they are asking us to do it, right? Or right, as we move forward, are they authoritarian, right? Like the parent says, this is the way you have to do it because I say so, because I know it better, because this is what I have done it, this is what others have done it, this is that others are doing it, this is really good for you, right? You're just putting your authority down, and they say that this is the only way you have to do it. And what is the effect of all this? What is the effect, right? Either you talk about this uninvolved or right, permissive, or this authoritarian parenting, right? And there's a lot of research has gone, especially in the US, in a lot of universities, like in California and Wisconsin and so on, that how the children coming out of this three parenting styles, how they have so much of low self-esteem, right? How they succumb to different kind of substance abuse. They go through so much of depression over a period of time, right? But then there is one more parenting style. This is called authoritative parenting style. What does it mean? Here, right, like parents, right, they show a balance of love and discipline. They set the limits. They show the limits. Okay, this is what, right, you need to do. They set the standard. They once they say something, they follow it up, right? They communicate it appropriately. They don't use threats. They show it by example, and they're very consistent with their children, right? And they show what exactly is appropriate. Not like as we discussed, it's not that one size fit all approach, right? It's all about, right, being the right example and spending time with them, right? And we'll be discussing more about this. How do we really develop this an authoritative parenting style? That yes, there has to be, right, like we get this example of a potter, right? Potter, what it does, right, it puts one hand, right, within, right, below the pot, and with the other hand it really bombards, right? Yes, there has to be a balance of the love and the punishment. You cannot just punish, right, then it will break, or you can just give pampering, right, so that you can just become a permissive parent. Either extreme is bad. But yes, it is not easy. Parenting is not easy. Right? If you think that, no, right, we just wanted to go, once again I said, the easy approach. There's no easy approach, right? Or we cannot just say that, oh, right, like Lord has given this children to all of us, Lord will take care. No, right? That's the Lord's responsibility. No, Lord has given, Lord has chosen you as a parents, or us as a parents, right, to take care of the children. It is our responsibility. Yes, it is a price that we pay, my dear friends, right? One time, one of our senior devotee was saying that, right? Like, yes, you chose it. Like, you chose to enter a grihastha ashram, right? And you chose to have some enjoyment, right? And this is the price that you have to pay. There is no free lunch. Yes, we have to pay the price. We have to use our intelligence. We have to use our energy, right, to bring this generation so that, like, they really feel content, and yes, right, they have really meaningful life, a purposeful life. And then at the end, right, we also feel that, yes, we did our responsibilities. We will not have that guilty feeling that I didn't do a good job at the end of the day, right? At least that's a really great feeling, right? At least I did my best. What exactly is required for the child to take care. Yes, this is all about, right, how do you really understand, right, the different styles, and what do we really need to adopt, right? Yes, there is a balance of, right, support and the control that is required, right? And this, yes, it, right? Authoritative means, yes, I care and I'll give you the freedoms, but at the same time, for safety and for important things, you do as I say, right? Yes. What this parenting is all about? Parenting is all about awakening the identity, understanding who I am, and raising the potential of the children, and development of this pancha courses, right? From this basic Arnamaya courses to the Anandamaya courses, how we can really bring the transformation within our heart and really do it not through the extremes, but right through the authoritative parenting style. Is it clear right now what exactly this parenting is all about? Is it really just only about education? Is it really only about giving great food, or is it really giving them good presents? Right? Yes, more than the presents, our presence is important for them. Or any questions so far with respect to what have you discussed, why we are talking about this, and what is all about parenting? Any questions, comments I would like to hear from you? Yes, we'll discuss about what is authoritative parenting is all about. This seminar is all about that. Okay, let's move further, and where we talk about how do you really experience this joy of parenting? What is it all about? So how can we really yes, it's difficult, but at the same time, right, how we can savor the moments that Lord has given, right, these beautiful children to all of us. Yes, we hear that, like especially our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada, right, it dedicates, right, like the book, right, of Krishna, like to his biological father, because he says that my father, biological father, showed it to my spiritual father. Right? Yes, right. We hear of this. Who is this lady? Rani Jhansi Bai. Right? Like how she was nurtured by her father, right? Reading the scriptures, right? Hearing about, right, Lord Ram and Krishna, so that to get the values, right? It's not just, right, for every sphere of life, right? How the parents can be the architect, right? They can really be that example, the role model, right? And with their behavior, with their mood, right? And then it's not only about the fathers, right? They are contributing, right? We hear about so many glorious mothers, right? We hear this a mother called Madhalasa, and especially in the scripture called Markandeya Purana, right? This lady is there, Madhalasa, this queen, and she's such a devoted queen, and that she would bring up her children with beautiful lullabies, right? Not like Humpty Dumpty, all the rhymes, but she would sing beautiful, verses, from the scriptures. She would sing that like Shuddhosi Buddhosi Niranjanosi Prapanchamaya Parivarjitosi Samsara Swapnam Tyajamoha Nidram Na Janma Mrityu Tvai Sat Sarupe. Right? Once, all the time, one Madhalasa, this queen, would take care of the children, always singing these beautiful verses, and making them understand what is the real identity. You are Suddhosi, you are pure, you are Buddhosi, you are ever awakened, right? You are Niranjanasi, you are always spotless, right? Like, it's not that, like, from the very beginning we tell our children, oh, you are good for nothing. No, like how you really, like, because what do we say? Really, they prove us to make us that true, right? If you really give that positive and that spiritual identity to the children, right, they really grow up accordingly, right? And then we say Rapancho Maya Parivarjati. So how to develop this pancha kosa? Yes, that is the objective of this, being child. How we can come out of this illusion, right? And how we really come out of this janma and mrityu. And with that, like all children, right, whoever she was coming up, like like this king's son, first son was like something called Vikrant, then the Subahu, then there's Satru Dharman, like all the children, they're becoming so much of devoted, there was so much of renunciate, right, by hearing this beautiful lullabies, beautiful songs, right, from this Madhalasa, right? But then, like this king Ritudha said, oh queen, right, now also I need some son who can really rule the kingdom. And then what this mother did, she started singing, right, the valor, the mighty warriors, right, to inspire and to give those values, right, to this fourth son who's named as Alarka. And accordingly, he became, right, he got all the qualities to take care of the kingdom, right? How it is so important, right, for the parents, especially the mothers. That's why he calls them mom, means wow. If you can see it differently, right? It's really the mother, right? How really is a first teacher for the child, right? Like not only you are talking about right, this Madrasa, or you talk about who is this, Jijamata, right? The mother of Shivaji, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, right? What is this lady is all about? This this Jijamata, right? Like her husband, like Sahaji, right? He was really being mad as a servant, right, of the Mughals, and then they were not able to perform, right, as a fatherly responsibility. But then the mother, she took that responsibility. How do you really take care of, right? Even though her father and 5 brothers, they were killed by the Mughals, but then she really took care of that responsibility. Yes, I need to bring up these children who can really take care of this, not only this place, but also this, Samrajya, this Rashtra, right? From the very beginning, she started, teaching about the qualities of Lord Ram and Krishna, right? How he can really, strong, right, with the right values, right, to be a right warrior, right? And then, right, there are so many beautiful examples. It goes on like this, right? Or we hear, from the mother Queen Kunti, how she took care, like when as a single mother, right? She took care of the 5 sons, and with all having a different qualities, right? She didn't compare Bhima with Arjuna or Arjuna with Nakula, right? Like how she brought up, like Bhima was the best, mess fighter, or the Arjuna was the best, bow fighter, or the Nakula, like with spears, or the so they were taking care of the horses. She didn't compare that, oh, you are not good at, like cannot compare, right? Like a fish with the ability to climb a tree, right? She really nurtured, right, each of the children's, right, with these unique qualities, right? Or we hear of this wonderful in this modern world about this Edison, right? Of course, there are different versions of this story, but the bottom line is that how once this baby Thomas Alva Edison, who is known as the greatest scientist ever, right? Like how one day, he got this letter from the teacher that, oh, right, and that, okay, give it to your mother. And the one mother opened up, right, and she saw that, right, and this baby asked, oh, what is written in that letter? No, in that letter it is written that, like, you are a special child, and in the school they don't have the proper infrastructure to take care of you, so they have asked me to homeschool because you are so genius. But then after years and years and years, and later on she found that letter, and what was written, right? Like it was written that school had said that, oh, your child is adult, means like mental disorder, or not up to the proper standard, so that we cannot really take care of you. Take care of yourself. And then Thomas Edison, he writes that, right? Yes, it's because of the hero mother, right? Even an adult person or as a mental retarded person can become a hero, and a 0% can be a hero, right? Yes, there is so much, respect is given, to the mother. Why? That is the highest respect given. That's why even our, in our society, right, Srila Prabhupada has told us how to give respect to the, all the women, right, as a Mataji, as a mother, because there's nothing else that you can offer, right, in the society as a designation. Yes, yes, mothers are really looking for so many other designations, right, either in the corporate world or in the family world and so on. But the best designation that mother can really give, or always a child thinks about, grateful about, is really about the mother, right? Isn't it? How many of you agree with this? That mother is really the architect of the child's development. Yes, and the parenting is all about, it's a really opportunity, a gifted opportunity for all of us, that how we can really purify ourselves. It's an opportunity, right, for our self-development. It's an opportunity for us, right, for glorifying the Supreme Lord. Any questions or comments so far? Okay, let's move on. Now, let's talk about, we talked about why parenting, we talked about what is parenting, we talked about some of the wonderful parents, how they have really, developed the kids under different circumstances, right? And then, right, once you talk about really parenting, we say that this is also like growing a sapling tree, right? Growing a sapling tree, right? Once you want to grow, right, what do? We first, is it that like the tree comes out on its own? No, we first prepare the field, we plow it properly, and then we get the right seed. Once we get the right seed, we sow the seed, and then we water it for a sufficient period of time, and then we get, that gets sprouted, and then we get some leaves, and then we get some shoots, and then branches, and later point of time, we sometimes we get the fruits and flowers, right? But then it starts with, right, preparing the field, right? Like, let's talk about, let's say, I know so many Matajis are here, and I would love to prepare, let's say, dosa or sambar for tomorrow morning, right? What do we have to do? We have to, right, soak this urad dal or rice, right, for certain period of time, and then we put into the grinding machine, and then we keep it for some time. And for sambar also, right, you prepare this tamarind water and so many vegetables, right, keep it, and then start preparing it, right, and then you offer it, then you serve it, like it goes through a process, right? Or let's say some guest is coming to the house, right, and then we prepare so much to receive that guest for a brief period of time. But then let's pause and think about it. What preparation we are doing to bring a soul, to bring a member into our family? Are we prepared for that? Have we done that preparation, or are we doing the preparation, right, to bring a member into our family who will stay for forever? How much time and energy we are preparing ourselves? Please share your thoughts. Let's be honest, right? For any activity we do, we put some effort and energy to get it. But for being a parent, right, before going to be just a parenthood, how much preparation we put it? How much preparation? Most of the times we do, right? Like, okay, parents are busy throughout the day, mother is busy with her whole household activities and so many things, and at the night, okay, we just think of just for some enjoyment, and that's how it really comes up, right? But then our acharyas are also giving so many wonderful examples that what is the result, right, of this style, right? What is this ever, like we hear this Diti and Kasyapa, right? Yes, Kasyapa is a very knowledgeable saint, right? And he had two wives, Diti and Aditi, right? And Diti understood that, like, my sister Aditi, she got wonderful sons, right? And then said, okay, no, I also need to get it right now, without considering any time, place, and circumstances. She approached Kasyapa, right? Like, that was evening time, that was not the right time, right, for the union to beget a child. But then, right, you know that if you're really conquered by something, like on the senses, right, nothing can really stop you, right? Then she forced Kasyapa, even though Kasyapa was saying that no, this is not the right time, this is the time for Lord Shiva, and if you do some offense to him, then definitely some disaster will happen. But she was not in the mood to listen anything, right? And then we know what happened. Yes, these two demoniac brothers, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, were born. Right? Or we talk about, right, like this other extreme example of Kardama and Devahuti, right? How Devahuti was the daughter of Manu, the king of this planet, and then Kardama, he was just such a saintly person. And how Devahuti, once married to Kardama Muni, she served so menially, right? Understanding the need of the husband, not really what exactly I really like to do, right? Right? She became so frail, with the complete surrender and submissiveness to her husband. And then once husband understood, right, how much she sacrificed, right, for my penance, for my austerity, and then, right, Kardama said, no, now I want to give you everything you want. And then he really built a nice palace, and then, right, and there is a need, then they pray to the Lord, Yes, we want to beget a child, right? And after praying, right, definitely once you pray to the Supreme Lord, and they really got that beautiful, empowered son as a Kapila. So here we can understand these two extremes once again. Once is a really, with the mood of service, with the mood of prayer, right, with the mood of that concentration. This is for the pleasure of the Lord. We are doing as a service. And another extreme is that, yes, this is for my enjoyment, right? And we see the output also accordingly. So the choice is ours. How we are preparing ourselves, right? We'll not go in detail, about this sanskara called Garbhadhana samskara, right? And there's so much process into it. But the basic motive behind is that, right? How we prepare our consciousness by surrendering ourselves, by chanting the holy names, by performing in the mood of sacrifice, not in the mood of enjoyment, right? To bring this child into our womb, right? And that's how we really inviting the soul. Believe me, if you ask any of the senior devotees or acharyas in any of the sampradaya, you will feel that the most important process, right, or the most important sanskara, right, of the bringing of the child is this Garbhadhana samskara, right? A child is really not known or just judged, right, based on the time of birth, but it's the time and consciousness of the conception. The way we have really conceived the child, right, the way we have prayed for the soul to come, right? Once you do this, 90% of our problem is solved, because right, with our prayer we got that right soul into our womb. We got the right consciousness, right, on how to bring that soul into our heart, right? Is it clear, or any questions or comments here? Because this is the most important part. Because as I said, once you take care of this part, right, the consciousness during the conception, our concentration is on the enjoyment or as an engagement for the Supreme Lord. Because yes, that enjoyment will lead to entanglement, but that engagement will lead to enlightenment. As you can see from Devahuti, the same son who was born, a Kapila, he became the instrument for liberating her. Right? How it is really important for us, right, to prepare ourselves. Yes, there's this Garbhadhana process that talks about 90 days of a purification, of preparing our consciousness, how we can increase our chanting, how we can increase as a mode of service, right? How we can read the different scriptures like Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita and so on, right? We see that Manu and Satrupa and so many other devotees, how they perform so much austerities to beget the Lord or their expansions, right? Even from the contemporary world. Let me go an example, right? This is one devotee who, from Nasik, he gives this example of a person an orchestra conductor, called Boris Brotchi, right? And he was very good at this orchestra, with coming up with nice music and so on. But one day, he came across with a very beautiful music, right, just on its own. And then his mother also was there, and then he asked mother, I don't know how he really got this music, can you really help me, right? This is the music that I really got it, right? And then mother said, this is the music that I was really playing every day while you were in my womb. Right? And then they give one more example, that there's an European couple, right? And both are fair, but they realized that their child was not fair complexion but a dark complexion. And then somehow, right, they got bewildered, how come it is possible, right? Because they were chaste to each other. And then later on they found that this mother, she wanted to have a footballer, right? And she had put this Pele picture in her wall, and that was her meditation, right? Once she was thinking that, the child also came up accordingly, right? Yes, a lot of from the materialistic point of view also, whatever we meditate, right, during the conception, right, we really get that kind of a child, right? So it's really up to us, we really like to have, right, with what kind of a child, right? And not only about the conception, but then once the child is conceived, what exactly we do, what the performance we do during the pregnancy time, right? And this is a beautiful example of Prahlad Maharaj. Though yes, Prahlad was a son of a demon, Hiranyakashipu, like of the mother Kayadhu. But then, right, once, right, how Narada came and said to the Kayadhu that yes, please come to my ashram, and I will teach you the different process of principles of devotional service, right? And then just by staying with Narad Muni, this mother Kayadhu, she learned so many beautiful principles, and this child who was there in the womb, Dhruv, and it's Prahlad, he learned. And once the Prahlad Maharaj was teaching his friends, right, the principles of bhakti, the friends asked, where did you learn? All of us, we are in the same Sandha and Amarka teacher, like in the school of Sandha and Amarka, and they have never taught about the devotional service. How did you learn? And Prahlad said, yes, this is what I learned in my own, and in the womb, in my mother's womb, right? And we hear so many stories of Abhimanyu and so many, right? And like this is also once again a science, my friends. There are so many, right, examples are there even in our contemporary world, right? If the child during the pregnancy, right, if he's really subjected to their nice music, nice scriptures, and a peace of mind, you will see the difference, right? And if the mother is completely in anxiety, working in the night shift, fighting with the spouse, and having a ugly relationship with the broader social life, and what else we can expect the child? So like once you say that our child or children are, they're not good enough, or they are having so much of ugly qualities, right? We should really point it to ourselves, right? During this time, how we prepared the soil and what kind of seed that we brought, right? We cannot blame the soil, we cannot blame the external circumstances, right? The important responsibility is that, have we really plowed the soil properly? Have we really got the right seed? If you put the mango seed, you cannot really get some other nectar. If you put neem seed, you cannot expect a mango seed, mango fruit. Right? It is so important for all of us to understand these two basic principles of, right, what is really required during this conception, and how sattvic we should be there during the pregnancy. Yes, how we should really prepare the farm, right, with the right service attitude and with the right soul, who is really the part and parcel of the Lord, right? And then patiently, consistently watering it, right? Why cannot get it right right away, right? Yes, it needs a lot of patience, a lot of energy, right? Any questions or comments here? Or of course we'll have some time for Q&A, but any questions and comments so far? Okay, there are some questions, some comments are there that we would have known it earlier. Yes, right, like next session we'll be talking more about, right, like yes, it's not that all time is gone, still at this point of time also, how we can really take care of our children in an appropriate way. And most importantly, if we could not do it, at least can we help our near and dear ones who are just entering this parenthood, really to educate them so that they really take this process seriously, right? And then, so before we end our today's session, as I said, next session, this will be a physical session, hopefully a face-to-face session where we'll have much more, right, this activities and role plays and so on, right? I'm sure I would really request all of you that let's come together and bring all our family and friends, because it's right, it's really would be really enlightening and really a lot of learning, right? How we can really deal with our children, not only about preparing it, but then how do you really water it and have that right fence to take care of it. But before that, right, let me give you one story once again from and our scriptures, beautiful scripture called Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is this, in this fourth canto, there is this episode of a king called Uttanpad. Yes, of the Swayambhuva Manu. There are two sons. One was really Priyabrata and another was Uttanpad. And Uttanpad had two wives. One is Suruchi, another is Suniti. Right? Yes, Suruchi, because of her attractiveness, because of her so many other things, right? Like she was really so much of dear to the king Uttanpad, and she had the son called Uttama, right? And then other wife is called Suruchi, right? Like she was also so loyal, so chaste, and so devoted to the king, and her son was Dhruva. And just one day, what happened? Dhruva, he saw that, oh, my brother Uttam is sitting on the lap of the father. Let me also have that fatherly mode, right? Like, I can really, get some pat on my back, from my father. She just jumped under the lap of the father, right, to get some love from the father. At that time, what happened? Suruchi was there, and she was so angry and said that, oh, Dhruv, you're not eligible, you're not qualified to sit on the lap of your father, right? Because you're not born from my womb, right? Like you can see, like, these are the Kshatriya son, right? You're not really talking about anybody else, right? They have so much of fire within them. And Dhruva, once he heard that, like this much chastisement and, abuse, from his stepmother, was really seething with anger, right? And then he started proceeding, right, thinking of anything else, right? And then he approached his mother, right? So in this scenario, right, and once this boy Dhruva approached the mother, right, what exactly Suniti did? But before understanding her reaction, let's ask ourselves, right, what will you do? How would you handle if your child deserved something but didn't get it and he's really upset about it? And also, if the child's father didn't pay heed to the child's request, all right? If you're in the position of, let's say, in the Suniti, like the mother of Dhruva, right, what would be your reaction? Any questions, comments? Would love to now hear from you. What would be your reactions once you see that, like, your child is so dear to you, so close to you, has been really abused and chastised, by the step queen, who is this Suruchi. Yes, Satya Srimati is saying that, fight with the father and Suruchi. Yes, and any other comments? What would be our obvious reaction to it? Now, how do you really come across in this situation? What would be so, right? Like, yes, fight for justice, right? Yes, I want to show that, yes, I love my son. This is everything important for me, right? And I'll say that, yes, let's have a fight with the father and, right, pacify the child. Oh, talk to the father right away that, oh, father, you don't have this much basics. Isn't that, I'm also loving to you. Why you are really putting all your, stuff, with your son, right? And, right. So I will really prove for the justice that, yes, equal affection has to be given to both the children. I get so many beautiful comments from, each one of you, right? Yes, these are our obvious reaction. But let's see from this example of Suniti what she did. And how, like we talked about earlier, right? The objective and the role of the parent is to develop the Panchakosha. And how in this one sin, my dear friends and my dear devotees, in this one sin, how Suniti helped Dhruva in, unearthing, right, like uncovering this, the seeds, right, and developing this Panchakosha, right? Yes, let's hear it out. What she did, first of all, She gave the motherly affection. She directly put him on her lap. Yes, he understood, right, from the other members of the palace that what exactly my son, Dhruva has gone through, right? And then, yes, she felt that what exactly my son would have gone through, right? That the physical affection is important, right? Yes, right. How much time we are really spending, right, with our children, right? Once they are coming out so much of difficulty, like nowadays, right? Like hardly we give our physical time for the children, right? Either we give it to the daycare or we take care of a maid or whoever it is, right? Are you really giving the first thing, the right food, right physical affection for the child? And once the touch, the motherly touch, right? Like once again, there is a lot of research around it, right? Once the first time the child is put on the lap of a mother, and the child starts sucking the milk, what kind of hormonal changes go, and that goes through the mother and child. Then suddenly they develop the attraction for each other, right? The child, after that will not go to any other mother. They naturally get attracted to the right mother. Why it is happening like that? Or the calf also, right? It doesn't go to any other mother. It goes to right, any other cow, but to its own mother, because they are really looking for that physical love, physical affection, physical touch and hug, right, from the mother, right? And how Suniti did it here brilliantly. Just yes, bring to the lap and tap. Yes, my child, I know. And the second most important thing, right? What she did? She didn't criticize the father, nor she did criticize the stepmother. Because once again, the most important principle to know, my dear friends, is that once you are teaching the children that yes, how to behave with the father, right? By showing ourselves, yes, if they learn from the mother that mother doesn't have any respect for the father, what kind of respect the child will have for any other authority, for any other, forget about spiritual authority, either in the school or the mentor or a guide, will the child have any point of time any respect for any authority? If he sees that, like, there is so much of rough and always discomfort at home, one is a mother and father fighting amongst each other. But at this point of time, right, what the Suniti did, neither she criticized her husband, nor even she criticized the Suruchi also. Do you know what she said? Yes, whatever your mother said, that's correct. Your stepmother said, that's correct. She said that yes, do not wish evil on others. He empathized his feelings. He acknowledged the feelings of Dhruva. Yes, I know you are going through a really tough time, right? I know you must be feeling very you must have so much of anger, right? Like, just to acknowledge the feeling is really the big thing that we can really give. We might not give the solution right away. And what are the solutions she gave, right? And the next step, she said that yes, your stepmother is right. You should worship the Supreme Lord to go out of the cycle of birth and death. And that's, yes, with that, you really achieve this Anandamaya Kosa by engaging yourself in the Lord's service without deviation. Ananya Bhava. Right? With this one scene, how we can see that, right? Like Suniti really helped Dhruva, right? Not only taking care of the bodily needs, his emotional needs, and of the need of the soul. And then she told that, yes, whatever your mother said, like Suruchi said, is correct. The Supreme Lord, and like he's having the affection of millions of mothers, right? If you approach him, right? Once again, my dear friends, right? It's not that like we always hear this example, right? If somebody is drowning, yes, we have to save the person, right? It's not that we have to save only the coat of that person or the cloth of that person, right? Yes, we have to save that person, but at the same time, it's not that we just save the person, taking out all the clothes, right? Yes, we have to take care of And not only their soul, but also their body, they are also their mind. It's a parenting is all about, we are not just talking about, okay, now just, just engage in the Lord. But then if the child is not well fed, if his emotional needs are not taken care, right, then he cannot really able to, right, think in a sane way to approach the Supreme Lord. And how in this beautiful example, first of all, Mother Suniti, right, she took care of her, the Dhruva's bodily need, of the emotional need, right? And then once is the right frame, and said, okay, you just follow. And what was the result for that? Right? Not only just following the instruction of the mother, Dhruva got the association of Narad Muni. He got the process, how to follow this process of devotional service. He got like darshan of the Supreme Lord. And then he came back and ruled the kingdom for thousands of years. And lo and behold, yes, at the end of his life, right, the Vishnudutas came to take him. And what happened during that point of time? Dhruva remembered that, yes, I am here, who I am, because of my mother. And then she was just looking at, this Vishnudutas, what about my mother? And the Vishnudutas, they showed, you see, your mother is well ahead of you. We know, what do you mean? Right? So, yes, as a parent, even Srila Prabhupada writes, I wish that I would have a disciple who can really help me in taking back to Godhead. Of course, it's humility, right? But as a parents, right, we should have also the same mood. How can I really have a child, right, with so much, developed consciousness, so that he will help me, going back to Godhead. Yes, that is the joy of parenting. That's the pleasure of the parenting. That's what we are talking about. How we can make, right, uncovering, how we can uncover, right, the different seeds, right, and develop them completely with their body, mind, and soul. And not only that, we also get purified. Right? Any questions or comments so far before we summarize for the day? Yes, we talked about why is it parenting, how kids are under so much stress, parents having so much of anxiety. It's aggravated by this, weapons of mass destruction everywhere. Right? What is it all about? We talked about, yes, it is about understanding our identity. It's about, right, understanding our true potential, how far we can go. Right? It's development of all the panchakosas, the transformation within our heart. Right? Yes, it has to be done through right parenting style. Right? And then we talked about, yes, these wonderful examples of parenting, whether it's about Jija Mata or Srila Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan De, or this Edison's, right, or Mother Kunti, right? Yes, this process is all about how we can really purify ourselves, how we can really have this is a process of devotion, this is a process of, right, engaging ourselves, right? Once we feel that child is a part and parcel of the Lord, and we are engaging in the devotional service by serving the child, right? Yes, and it's not just we just do it right away. We have to follow a process, right? Like either whatever we want to do it, we have to prepare ourselves, right? So similarly, we have to prepare, our parenthood with making the field, appropriately, by plowing and also sowing the right seed. And not only that, we have to patiently and consistently follow the water. And then we heard this from this wonderful example of Dhruva Maharaj, how Mother Suniti really helped Dhruva just in one instance, in one moment, right? Helped in the development of the Panchakoshas of Dhruva Maharaj. Hare Krishna. So yes, this is what, right, we'll talk about, right, like in our next session, right? Please remember this bell. Why this bell? We'll discuss next session. Right? So yes, Prabhupada also has mentioned this. Yes, child worship is more important than deity worship. That Prabhupada has written to one Mataji, Arundhati Mataji, and he says that here these children are given to us, by Krishna. They are Vaishnavas, and we must be careful to protect them. We must be careful, to take care of them so that they grow, very nicely as a devotees. Right? And then yes, how does it work? Right? And how do we really apply all these principles in this current context? So that this the seed is sown, it's getting sprouted, and then how we really protect this sapling with the right fence, and what kind of nutrients we need to put it, how much sunlight is required, right? All that we'll be discussing in detail in our next session, right? how do you really deal with this electronic media? How do you really prepare ourselves, for this terrible teenage turmoil? When we're talking about how we can really perfect our parent-child relationship, right, and how we can really facilitate a meaningful growth. And we'll have many more Q&A and, as I said, role plays and activities in our next session. So this is it for today. Any questions, comments, thoughts? So we'll try to answer if it is relevant for today's discussion, or if we have something else, maybe we can address it next session as well. But yes, I would like to hear the reflection from all of you. Okay, yes. Association matters. That's what Lokanath Prabhu is saying. Yes, we can learn so many things from the scriptures, right? There are some good examples are there, and the bad examples are there. So we learn from everywhere, right? Once we hear some good examples, right, we see that, okay, this is what, right, we cannot imitate, but we can really get inspired from that to follow it. And there are some bad examples are there. Like talk about Kasyapa and Diti. Then we really say that how we can really avoid, how we can really stay away from that.
Prabhuji, there are some questions. If you scroll up, you can read.
Yes, and this one Abhisikta Mataji, I think, right? She is writing about how do you do this Garbhadhana Samsthan. So this is a detailed seminar itself, right? So maybe we can organize, right, one specific seminar on this. But just at a high level, once again, as we discussed, right, this is this process, one of the sanskaras, like I just said, the most important sanskaras, right, like how there has to be a right time, right place, and right purification process, like as I said, right, it is like a lot of technical details are there, right, what is the right time we have to do it, right, and also how do you really prepare ourselves, right, over a long period of time. It's not that like it can happen right away, right, but most important thing is that like how we take it as a service, right, like basic thing that we can think is that, okay, how we can observe ourselves in the chanting of the holy name, right. Especially Srila Prabhupada has recommended that at least a mother and father, they should chant at least 50 rounds, right, and they should follow the 4 regulative principles sincerely, right, and like there are so many other details are also there, like in before conceiving process, how all the waste should be taken out from the human body, right, and in the evening, right, how, like, yes, preferably we should visit a gosala, right, we should visit a temple or a places of some natural beauty, right, also we should visit some holy places or birthplace of great personalities, and how this couple should really dine early in the evening, and the food consumed should be really healthy, right, and like how like food should be taken with some milk, right, and usually we should really avoid like tamasic food, how like parents should not watch, right, all these things which is really bring negative energy to ourselves, and how we should reside in a place which really brings the mode of goodness within us, right, and the while conceiving also, right, the moment, right, how we do it, right, as a service for the Supreme Lord, right, not as a for our enjoyment. Yes, there are the details are there, but maybe we can discuss offline, or maybe we'll see if we can organize a specific seminar on this. But yeah, the most important thing is that yes, it's all about being absorbed in the service of the Supreme Lord. Okay. Yes, there is Smita Mataji saying, yeah, I've really experienced what you see. There are examples here as well, right? Mataji is saying that because she was listening to the scriptures, Hanuman Chalisas, and so on, like And it always reminds me of Prahlad Maharaj and Abhimanyu. And we'll see that the mother who have really heard, right, the scriptures, you will see that it's a science once again, I said, and how the child will be, right? Okay, so Mamta Mohanmati is saying, it is said the mother is architect, but how to do with only fathers and children without mothers? Okay, this is a tough question. Yes, yes, the role of mother has to be taken care by father, right? If mother is not there, but yes, the qualities of a mother and father are different, and the quality of father usually is to support the mother. What is the role of the father? The role of the mother, role of the father is to give as much as love and care to the mother, so that, right, mother gives complete, care and love, to the child. So it's not that there is no roles and responsibility of the father, right? Father really brings that discipline, gives, a sense of authority in the, in the house, brings some discipline in the house, and mother really, brings that, love, right? But yes, if somehow or other, right, if the single father, definitely it's a tough situation, but then yes, it is the additional responsibility of the father, how to really understand the need, concerns, expectations, and the interest of the child, and really have that, right, open discussion, right, what exactly they need, right? Like, because as we are saying that, like, most of the parents, they don't have time, right? Like, it's like, yes, we are talking about another full-time responsibilities, right? How do you really prioritize then our parenting at this point of time? I say, yes, it is not easy, but definitely we can really, right, equip ourselves, right, with that motherly love, right, to take care of those children. Yes, like as you said, can we, like Purnima Mataji is asking, can we look parenting as a devotion? Yes, as we discussed, and Prabhupada is writing that, yes, caring of the child is more important even than deity worship. I remember one Mataji in one temple, she was so always engaged in this, Rajbhog preparation, taking care of the deities, and so many other, devotional service. But then once she was blessed with a child, her spiritual master told, now, all right, you have a different service now. Your service has changed. Earlier you are taking care of the deity, now you take care of your child, right? So that is your devotional service, because, right, the child is also the part and parcel of the Lord. He's a Vaikuntha children. Prabhupada tells again and again, these are not ordinary children. These are Vaikuntha children. They have come from Vaikuntha. They have come to purify, right? They have come, right, for us to, right, like, engage us in that service, right? How we should really, take this opportunity, that yes, Lord has given us an opportunity to serve His devotees, right? So we should not think that, taking care of the child is not devotional service. Yes, and it is another form of devotional service. Like, yes, there is a difference, right, between attachment and affection. Yes, we should be affection. We should have affection for the children, right? And like, what is attachment? Attachment, my child is everything, right? And the child is a center. But then once I'm having affection means, right, like I'm doing this as a service, right, for the Lord. Like, if Lord has given a, like, let's say, if some important person, right, like, has given something to us, how, so securely, so sincerely, so nicely we keep that objective. Oh, we always say, oh, this is given by my spiritual master. Oh, this is given by the, the prime minister of the country. But if the Lord has given something for us, right, how carefully, right, how sincerely, seriously we should take care of that, right? And this is, yes, Lord has given us, this is an opportunity for us to serve. So how should we really take that, as an opportunity to that? Okay, I'm just going through if any other questions or comments. Okay, thank you very much. Krishna. A wonderful session. If the mother decides to stay at home, leaving her job to take care of child's upbringing, she is often ridiculed for the choice. Should she really feel guilty about it? It's a very, very, very practical question. Thank you, Dipti Mataji, for asking these beautiful questions. Right. So somebody was saying the other day that we spend the money that we don't have. Right. We buy things that we don't need, and we spend all our time to impress others for whom we hardly care about. Right? So is it really important for us, right, to care about so many people who hardly we care, right? Or is it really important for us, right, to understand what is a really need, right, for our child, for our family, for myself? What is a really priority? We are not saying just leave everything, but what is a priority? Like, this is a wonderful principle. Whatever new, you have to invest. You have to invest more time. You have to prioritize it. If you're going to a new job, you have to invest more time, right? You are going to a new house, you have to spend time. You have to go to a new place, you have to understand, and you have to spend a lot of time. And if you're inviting some new member to the house, you have to spend time, you have to connect, you have to develop that relationship. Yes, that is the priority at that point of time. And as I said, there is no other designation in the world, right, than the designation of mother. Believe me, right? It's right. There is nothing else. This is the highest designation that we can have. And the so much of content we have, that, as you said, like, if we just do our responsibility, giving our full love and care and attention and affection and acceptance towards our children's needs, right, we'll feel so much of satisfaction within. But then just think about it. If you don't do our job, right, like as a mother, and we might be so successful, right, with so many zeros in bank account and so many positions and designations, right, if our home is breaking apart, right, what will be at the end, what will be our thought process, what will be our emotions? Will you be really happy about it? Right. So yes, we are not saying about either or, but what we really need to saying is that we need to understand the priority, right? What is really required at which point of time. And yes, it has to be done under proper guidance. It has to be discussed with the right-minded person. That's the reason we are really bringing these sessions, so that we can learn from each other. We can reprioritize, we can refocus what is the need of the hour. Thank you, Mataji, for this wonderful question. Yes, so like Rachana Mataji is very fortunate. She's saying yes, she could not do much service while the children were young. I could not do much of devotional service and reading scripts when my children were young. But now they have grown up and they are also supporting me in devotional service. Yes, right. You are fortunate. Your children are so fortunate. Right. Yes, there was a spark, right, and you really fend that spark nicely, and it's growing up nicely, right? So wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, so I really once again thank you very much. So once again, what we are discussing, yes, it's easy to speak, but once again, yes, it's difficult to practice. But with the prayers and blessings of all these Vaishnavas here and all our acharyas, we can make an attempt to practice it. And I'm really, really looking forward to meet all of you, in our next session, where we'll have more, entertaining, interactive session focusing on this topic. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Anything else, Ram Prabhu or Krishnamurti Prabhu would like to add?
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for enlightening us. Actually, this is the first session we had here in this Balandur sector. It's really like we are understanding that Annamaya, Pranamaya, like Manomaya, Jnanamaya. So this, I hope everybody can inculcate this so that our children will get the right things and the right love and care. So very nicely you explained. We are really looking for that next session. So please join with us, and I request all the participants also to come physically if possible, because even though if you are little far, you can take time out and then come physically so that we can understand more and more about parenting. It's very, very important for all of us, actually. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for, and I request all the devotees one time to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra for Prabhujis and their families so that they can progress more and more. They are the really watering all of us. So we have to pray for them. So I'd like to request all of you. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Shriram Prabhuji, anything you want to add?
Yes, Prabhuji, we'll go for the chanting session. We'll chant one round of Mahamantra, and let me share the screen. So I request everyone to switch on their videos, and let's chant together along with Srila Prabhupada. Let's chant Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, let's chant together. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sudhirgopal Prabhuji, thanks for giving a wonderful session on the Vedic parenting. I hope everybody is waiting for the next session, as you already mentioned. So a few members were asking when is the next session. So we will be shortly posting it about basically we are planning for a physical session at the PK Sports. So requesting, and also definitely online Zoom will be there. So to take advantage, on that day, if everyone whoever is able to join this physical session, it's more appreciable. Okay, thank you, Krishna Karnamurti Prabhu, for hosting this. Thanks a lot. Okay, Hare Krishna devotees, let's meet this Thursday, the Q&A session, and we'll end this session today. And please post Hare Krishna and leave the session. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.